This should be working. Um, I wanted to talk this week or this time a little bit about what I'm seeing right now in the market. So, one of the things that has really become evident over the last little while is just how important strategies and renewals and timing these two together really is. And we heard for the last year, year and a half, 2 years even, that mortgage renewals were going to be a problem, around the time of now because everybody during, 2020 and early 21, that latter part of that year, was getting really record low interest rates, somewhere as low as 1.5%, somewhere even lower. But the general consensus was that you were able to secure sub 2%. And the fears were that when renewal time came, 5 years from now, so 2025 and 2026, we were going to see a real pinch and a real strain on a lot of people. And the reality is that most Canadians treat their mortgage renewal just like paperwork, but it's not paperwork. It's one of the biggest financial decision points that you'll have really every 5 years if that's the length of term you take. And you've got to be careful not to mismanage it because it is a good opportunity. And one of the reasons for that is because you're up for renewal, your mortgage penalty is going to be minimal or in many cases zero if we time this properly. Um, and mortgage penalties have crept up. And if you took a 5-year fixed rate, you know, 2 years from now, and you wanted to break your mortgage penalty now, that's something, or you wanted to break your mortgage to get a lower rate, you have to factor in that mortgage penalty. And so a lot of times these two are really going hand in hand right now. And the mistake that I'm seeing a lot of people make is it's not about the rate necessarily at renewal. It ends up being about the structure. And what we've really seen that's helping a lot of clients out is using this as an opportunity, like I mentioned, to look at a whole financial picture and your whole debt uh, setup, I should say. Is there anything you have to clean up? Do you have any high interest credit cards, vehicle loans that are maybe outstanding, or student loans, stuff that is maybe higher interest, or you don't like managing so many payments? Maybe we want to lump them into one. So that's one avenue we're seeing a lot of people uh, have great success with. The other one is, um, you know, because you're up for renewal and you've been in the house for a couple of years now, are there things you want to change? So, taking this as an opportunity to reassess the house and say, okay, what is our next 5-year plan? Are we upgrading the house? Maybe there was some things we wanted to fix when we moved in, but we didn't quite maybe have the room in our equity. We maybe have it now. Maybe we had a plan to move, but that plan changed and we're staying here. Maybe we want to upgrade a few things. Maybe we finally want to put in the pool. Maybe we want to fix the basement. Whatever it is, it's a fantastic time to be doing something like that. And that's because, again, you don't have a penalty. So, whereas you might be able to pull out $40,000, breaking your mortgage midterm, you may have a $5,000 or $7,500 penalty, and that eats into anything that you were going to pull out, right? Not to mention any sort of closing costs. So this renewal time is fantastic for that reason as well. And the last one, just taking a real holistic look at what is the long-term goal. Are we focused on maybe trying to invest? Are we focused on trying to hammer down our mortgage? Because if the goal is to do one of those two, then there are some strategies that we can implement to get you there as well. So I'm going to go over a couple scenarios that we've seen really in the last couple weeks, over and over and over again. And so in scenario one, so this couple, they bought and their rate at the time was 1.79. They ended up renewing at a bit of a higher rate, and they have about 20 years remaining on their mortgage. So in this scenario, what we did is they wanted to pull out some money for renovations. So they didn't want to extend their amortization too far into that, past 20 years. They had 20 years remaining, and they said, we still want to pull out cash, but we don't want to, push all the way to that 30-year am. So what we did is we were able to pull about $60,000 out. We pushed that amortization just slightly. We only moved it out to about 23 years. And in this scenario, they were actually saving about $18 a month in their cash flow, right? So they had a higher rate than maybe they had initially. They have more money accessed. They have a lower payment. And this didn't really happen by accident. We had to put this structure in place on purpose. And so that has been a huge one that we've been doing. Um, the second big scenario is what do we got here? Oh, scenario 2 was the people who want to pay off their mortgage as fast as possible. So this other set of clients, this other case study we're going to look at right now, what they did is they said, okay, we've got about 20 years remaining on our mortgage. We're feeling comfortable with everything, but we want to get rid of this mortgage. It's impacting our day-to-day lives. We don't like it hanging over our heads. Is there any way that we can move to pay this down as fast as possible? So there are ways you can do this, but the reality is the best and fastest way to pay down your mortgage is to just pay it more often. And no matter what way you slice this, no matter what you see online, what you see somebody do, it's all to pay your mortgage down as fast as possible. So in this scenario, the clients are actually utilizing something that is going to take a lot of the guesswork out of it. So they're not having to every month say, okay, we have extra cash, let's put it into the mortgage. Or they're not having to say, hey, quarterly, let's put extra money onto the mortgage. They're just saying, we've set up this mortgage in a manner that's going to allow us to pay this down as fast as possible. So in their scenario, what we did is we were able to actually decrease their mortgage from the 20 years, and they're saving 9 years and 7 months. So they're just over 10 years. They've cut the life of their mortgage in about half. So we're going to decrease the amount of interest. So they're going to save about $125,000 in interest over the life of their mortgage. Now, it's huge, right? But it's not happening again by accident. They've decided we're going to make this a priority, right? We're going to focus on paying down our mortgage and get this as low as possible. Now, the alternative would be, if you had done kind of what we did in scenario A, which is just the debt consolidation, potentially these clients, what they could have done is said, hey, we want the lowest monthly payment, and we also want to invest the difference. So in this third scenario that we could have done is if their goal was we want to grow our retirement kind of nest egg, we can say, okay, let's look at the best way to do that, and maybe we want to extend that amortization slightly, lower their monthly debt obligation, meaning, if you're putting out $3,500 a month, maybe we get that down to $3,000, and you're able to put an extra $500 a month into some sort of an investment. And the sort of rationale and the strategy there is you're really only getting X amount of return on your mortgage. So if your rate is 4.5%, that's the type of return you're getting, right? You're paying this down to get a 4.5% return. Whereas if you put it into some sort of an investment and you make the assumption that, hey, I can get 8% on this money, you're outpacing 4.5% by the difference there. So that is a couple ways that right now we are getting our clients to use renewal time as an opportunity to restructure, to review, and to take a look, pause and say, what are we doing over the next 5 years, 10 years? It's not always easy to really think that far ahead, but take this as an opportunity to say, how do we want to put ourselves in the best position to get this stuff figured out? All right. So, I would say if you're going to be up for renewal in the next 6 months, 12 months, don't treat this like paperwork. Treat this like leverage, right? Treat this as an opportunity to review things and give yourself the game plan that it's going to get you to where you want to go. Because that might be one of those scenarios we went over, but it also might be upgrading your home. You might not know what is available to you. Maybe your income increased, equity decreased, you got more down payment coming to you. But either way, you've got options, and take this as an opportunity to look at those.